Before the first selfie, before Instagram, before influencers, the ancient Greeks already warned us about narcissism. In the myth of Narcissus, there was a man so obsessed with beauty that when he saw his own reflection in a river, he fell in love with it. He couldn't look away. He couldn't touch it. He couldn't leave. And eventually, he drowned. That story wasn't just poetry. It was psychology, thousands of years before modern science. Today, psychologists define narcissism as an inflated, grandiose self-image. It's not just loving yourself. It's believing you are superior, better looking, smarter, more important, and deserving of special treatment. And here's where it gets interesting. Psychologists say there are two main types of narcissism. First, grandiose narcissism. This is the loud one. Confident, dominant, charismatic, attention-seeking. These people chase power. They want status. They want admiration. Many become CEOs, celebrities, influencers, even politicians. Now listen carefully. Not everyone in power is narcissistic. Ambition is not the same as narcissism, but narcissists don't chase power to serve. They chase it to be seen, and at first, they often win. Because confidence attracts followers. But over time, something changes. They take bigger risks. They ignore advice. They make decisions based on ego, not reality. And that's when the fall begins. Now the second type, vulnerable narcissism. This one is quieter. They may seem shy, reserved, even insecure, but inside, there's still entitlement. They believe they deserve more than others. And they are extremely sensitive to criticism. A small comment feels like an attack. A small rejection feels like betrayal. Grandiose narcissists explode outward. Vulnerable narcissists implode inward. But both share one core trait. Their self-worth depends on constant validation. And when they don't get it, they react. Over time, narcissism damages relationships. Friends feel used. Partners feel unseen. Teams feel manipulated. Because narcissists struggle with empathy. Now let's go deeper. There's a more extreme form called narcissistic personality disorder, classified in the DSM-5. This isn't just confidence. It's a rigid, destructive pattern of grandiosity, lack of empathy, and need for admiration that damages work, love, and life itself. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A little narcissism can help you succeed. Too much will destroy you. The myth of Narcissus wasn't about beauty. It was about obsession with the self. When your entire world becomes your reflection, you stop seeing reality. And reality always wins. So the real question isn't, am I narcissistic? The real question is, do I want admiration? Or do I want growth? Because growth requires humility. And humility is the one thing narcissism can't tolerate. Now here's where narcissism stops being a personality quirk and starts becoming damage. Narcissistic partners are often dishonest, sometimes unfaithful, not always because they lack options, but because they crave validation. Attention becomes addictive, and when their perfect self-image is challenged, they don't reflect, they retaliate. Criticism feels like an attack. Feedback feels like disrespect, and that's when resentment turns into aggression. It's almost like a disease where the person feels powerful, but everyone around them slowly suffers. When this behavior becomes extreme and rigid, psychologists classify it as narcissistic personality disorder. According to the DSM-5, published by the American Psychiatric Association, NPD affects about 1–2% of the population, and it's diagnosed more often in men. But here's something important. It's only diagnosed in adults. Why? Because children and teenagers are naturally self-centered. That's part of development. But when grandiosity, lack of empathy, entitlement, and constant need for admiration take over someone's life and destroy relationships, careers, families, that's when it becomes a disorder. Imagine this. Instead of loving your spouse, you use them as a mirror. Instead of raising your children, you use them as proof of your greatness. Instead of accepting feedback, you attack anyone who questions you. That's not confidence. That's fragility hiding behind ego. So what causes narcissism? Twin studies show a strong genetic component. Some people are biologically more prone to these traits. But genes are not destiny. Environment matters. Parents who treat a child like royalty, telling them they are superior to everyone, can fuel grandiose narcissism. On the other hand, cold, controlling parents can create vulnerable narcissism, a fragile ego that constantly needs reassurance. Culture plays a role too. In highly individualistic societies like the United States, narcissistic traits have been rising since the 1970s. The shift from community focus to self-esteem culture to material success and personal branding. And now, social media, endless opportunities for self-promotion. But here's the truth. There's no solid evidence that social media creates narcissism. It doesn't create it. It amplifies it. It gives narcissists a stage. Now the real question, can narcissists change? Yes, but it's hard. Therapy, honest self-reflection, practicing empathy, learning to care about others without needing praise. All of it can help. But here's the brutal reality. For someone whose identity depends on being superior, looking at themselves from an unflattering angle feels like death. And that's why many don't stay in therapy long enough to grow, because growth requires humility, and humility threatens the ego. So here's the deeper takeaway. Healthy confidence builds you. Narcissism builds an image. And when life eventually cracks that image, only one survives. The image, or the person behind it. Because the image needs admiration. It needs applause. It needs control. But the real person needs connection. And when the applause fades, when the power slips, when the mirror stops flattering, you are left alone with one question. Was I loved, or was I just admired? Narcissism isn't confidence. It's protection. It's armor built in childhood, polished by status, fed by attention. But armor is heavy, and eventually, you either keep defending the image, or you put it down and learn how to be human. Because in the end, the image might impress the world, but only the real you can build something that lasts.